Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us with Legacy with Carlene. Today is Friday, May 5th, and we have an amazing lady joining us today.
Took me long enough, huh?
My beautiful auntie,
Well, thank you.
Brenda. Well, just give a little introduction about yourself, your name, where you're born.
Well, I'm the youngest of my mom's living, well, not, I wouldn't say living, but 12 children. My name is Brenda Nicholson, aka Brenda Ramirez. Didn't go back to my maiden name because my children said, "No, mom, you keep that name. You've earned it, whether you like it or not." I said, "Okay, fine." I am 60 years old. Um, feel like I'm 40, except when the aches and pains kick in, of course. I was born in Belize City at the Belize Hospital, which is no longer there, but pass by there every time I visit. So I always say that's where my navel string is. um, I currently have what, four sisters alive, two that passed away, three brothers alive, and two that also passed away. So it was 12 of us. So now it's becoming less and less, but that's to be expected. That's part of life. And,
Yeah. Okay. Tell us about your dad.
my dad is deceased. He lived till he was about 83, I believe.
His name?
His name is Aldomaro Ramirez. He was born in Yucatan. He's a Mayan. Um, Unfortunately, COVID took him. He was a strong man. Doctors used to say, "Man, your dad's the man of steel." He went through two prostate surgeries. He had both of his eye lenses replaced. I mean, you name it, he went
I
through
bet.
it. He had a kidney taken out. I mean, that man was a man of steel. COVID came out of nowhere and, just took him. He's been gone now. Gosh, I'm trying to remember. Was it 24? Going on 5 years. July will be 5 years. Yeah. So
What's your date of birth?
I was born July 31st, and I'm not
Okay.
ashamed to say 1964.
And your mom's date of birth?
My mother's date of birth, December. Oh, this is a shame. December 4th, 1920, I believe. Yeah,
And
yeah.
and your dad?
My dad, September 20th, 1933. He was younger than my mom, but you couldn't really tell. I used to always tease my mom. I said, "Mom, you're a cougar," but he kept her young.
How did do you know how they met? The story of how they met and got
Uh,
together?
Apparently, well, kind of. This is just like stories I hear from my siblings. Apparently, he was a neighbor across the street. They got friendly, and that was how they met. And here I am.
How did your dad end up in Belize?
um, well, he lived in Chetumal for a while, and according to what he told me, he came there as a young guy, worked as doing construction work and other little miscellaneous odd jobs. He was a boxer for a while, from what I understand.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah. So when my mom met him, I think he was doing construction work in Belize. Yeah.
Mm,
Hmm.
interesting. I didn't know
Hmm.
that either. I'm learning
Yeah.
some new
Well, at least that's what they told me.
Do you know the names of your grandparents from either side?
My grandmother on my dad's side is Apollonia Reyes. Um, his dad is, gosh, what is his? I think it was Eusebio Ramirez. I
Savior.
think I might be wrong, but I think that's what he had told me. Yes.
What about your mom? Do you know your grandparents?
On my mom's dad, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything I know is what I've learned from my siblings. So I'm just going based off of what they related down to me. So
And Do you know how you got your name? Who picked your name?
That's a funny story. When I was born, my dad told my mom, let's name her Elizabeth. My mom was like, oh, no, 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 no. That must have been one of your little sweethearts. My mom's just like, no, any other name, but not Elizabeth. He's like, okay, fine. Let's see. Okay, how about Brenda? She's like, that's okay. My middle name is Ignacia. Of course, back in the day, they took all the names off of the saints off of the calendar, Saint this
Mhm.
and Saint that, and it was really Saint Ignacio, but she transposed it into a female name, which is Ignacia.
Oh, okay.
However, when I was born and she filled out my birth certificate, and I hear a lot of stories about this, she put down Brenda Ignacia Ramirez. But when they brought back the certified certificate, it had Ignacia Brenda. Boy, did my mom rip. But there was nothing they could do at the time. So when I'm in Belize, I'm known as Ignacia Brenda, but in the States,
Mhm.
I work as Brenda Ignacia.
Yeah, I hear that's common in Belize. A lot of the
Yes.
names were transposed.
Unfortunately.
Um, let's see. Do you know what your name Brenda means?
I've looked it up before, but I don't quite remember. I
Okay.
don't.
And what about nickname? You have any nicknames?
Um, my siblings call me Bren, but I have a joke about that. They call me Brenda, but I always say when they're trying to sweeten me up, they always go Bren, and I'm like, okay, what do they want? There's like an inside sibling joke. I go, yeah, 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 they want something. But
Name.
some of my nieces and nephews they call me Aunt B.
Mhm.
It's Aunt B. Yeah.
Okay. And name your siblings.
My siblings. My oldest sister, who's deceased, is Lydia Nicholson. My second to my oldest sister, who's also deceased, is Linda Sabaranis. And the third is Glenda Gabriel, which is your mother.
Okay.
And then Made, which is Dolores Ramirez.
Mhm.
And then we have Lourdes McPherson and Sylvia Nicholson. And for the boys, we have my oldest brother is Jorge Pelayo.
Mhm.
My brother who is deceased and I miss so much is Pedro Pelayo. Not
Mhm.
that I don't miss my sisters as well. Should have said that. And also another brother who's deceased is Alfonso Rivero, which they used to call him Jose as well.
Yeah.
And then we have Agustin Pelayo and Orlando Pelayo. So I have five
Yes.
brothers. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember well, I guess first I'd ask how old were you when you came to the United States from Belize?
I believe I was like just about 2.5 years old. I was born in '64. My mom brought me here in '66.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're too young to remember Belize
Mhm.
at that age.
Right. And I always used to say, Mom, why didn't you leave me there? I wanted to be brought up in my own culture. And she's like, no, because you were the baby. I'm like, okay, fine.
Well, tell me, share a story that you or one of your favorite stories that you remember as a child in being out here in the US.
One of my favorite stories, I think, was when my mom says that all of my siblings are finally coming to the States. And I felt happy because then I would get to know them better. You
Mhm.
know, it was always just me, even though they probably thought I was the spoiled one at the time. But it was a good feeling to finally have them all here. I was so excited. I think it was when my brother Pedro came.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. When he came, I was excited. I kept calling my big brother, my big brother.
Do you remember how old you were when they started coming?
I think I was about 8 or 9 years old. Yes.
Oh, wow. So you were here for a while then
Yes.
before they
That's why I was
started.
excited. Yes. Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Wow.
hmm
What what schools did you go to?
Um, I actually went to a nursery school. It's over here off of Adams. Was it Golden Day? Golden Day Nursery School. I remember that far back. Yeah. And
Wow.
then elementary, I went to Vermont Elementary on Vermont. I think most of the kids went there as well. Um, for middle school, which back then was junior high, it's Berendo Junior High.
Mhm.
And in high school, I went to Belmont High School.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So share favorite memory or one of your favorite memories of your mom.
Hmm. One of my favorite memories of my mom is she was such a tough cookie, I tell you. I think um, getting her ready to go out to parties. She'd always come and she had this little, she'd always say, darling, darling. I'd go and I'd fix her makeup, fix her hair so she can look pretty when she was going out. Because my mom was just always the type that no matter what, she always looked well put together. I always enjoyed doing
Oh, you
that.
picked her up.
Yes.
Okay. Share same as favorite story of your dad
With my
memory.
dad, I think when he walked me down for my wedding, because me and my dad, we had a off and on relationship. Some
Mm-hmm.
was good, some were sad, and it was honored that he finally came around and accepted me and my life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he walked me down when I got married, and it was so funny because my brother Pedro, who was always like a dad to me, he
Mm-hmm.
said, "Don't worry, I'm walking you down the aisle." I'm like, "Well, no, my dad's gonna do it," and he was like, "Oh," he says, "But I'll be your MC," he says.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, when you and your mom came to the US, did your dad come with you guys? Y'all
Yes,
came together?
we did. We
Oh,
all
okay.
came together. Yes,
Oh, that's good.
we
Okay.
did. Cause I'm the only one with a different dad, and so I'm his only daughter. So there's no way he was just gonna let. Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Okay. And your dad, does he have siblings?
He does. He
Do you know the
does.
names?
Yes, and he does have siblings. I think of all his siblings, I've got one auntie who's still alive. Her name is Esther, and she lives in Cancun. My dad had what, three brothers? Let me see, one, two. I believe he had three brothers and two sisters.
Have you
Hmm.
met them all?
I did. I did get to
Oh,
meet them
okay.
all.
That was
Yeah,
a blessing. Okay, I didn't know
yeah,
that either.
yeah. I did. And there was one auntie that my dad and my granny would always say he looked just like her, and that's my aunt Tina.
Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately, she passed away. She wasn't that young, but she wasn't that old either. So she was. I think I was very close to her. Yeah, yeah. And I did get to see her before she passed away. So it's kind of like she waited until we got there to say her goodbyes.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yes.
Were they all living in Mexico
They
or
lived in Chatomal. Yes. Hmm.
so no one other than your dad lived in Belize?
Yep. That was just my dad. Yes.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay, interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. So share your children, the name of your children, their age and date of birth.
I have four sons. My oldest son is Anthony Nicholson Jr. He's 41 years old. He will be 42 on June 14th. My second to oldest is Andrew Nicholson, and he will be 41 May 15th. So they are the same age for 1 month.
Oh,
And not because I was too,
yeah, I didn't
too in a
realize
rush
that.
to have children. But no, Andrew was a preemie. He was actually due July 15th.
Mm,
So he came early. If not, they would have been a year and a month apart. So
okay.
that's why they're the same age for 1 month. And then my third child is Christopher Nicholson. And Christopher, oh boy, you got me on that one. His birthday is October 5th, and he's 1988. He will be, crap, my math is really bad right now. Christopher will be, I think, 36.
Mhm.
Yeah. Close enough. And then my youngest son is Jonathan Nicholson. He was born July 27th, and he is 28. I believe he'll be 29 this year. Yeah,
I think
forgive
it's,
my math. It's close.
yeah, it's him and Tiffany are around the same
Yes,
age.
yeah. Hmm.
Mhm.
I didn't have any girls. Wanted at least one, but didn't happen.
Well, I know you have quite a few grandkids. Can you name all your grandkids?
um, I can name the ones I know of. Everything else will just keep that off the board. But my oldest grandson is Jordan Nicholson,
Hmm.
and then Noah Nicholson, Alexander Nicholson, and Kalani Nicholson, my little princess,
Hmm.
and Chris Jr. Nicholson. And
Oh,
he's
yeah, Chris Jr.
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Hope I
Okay.
didn't forget any. Yeah, I got them all.
Hmm. Okay. And can you share how you met their father?
Oh gosh. This is the royal family, the Pelayo and Nicholson family. um, Anthony. I mean, the Nicholsons knew the family since way back when, and it's interesting because it's like my mom was like, I don't want another Nicholson in this family, but I don't know. I guess there was some sweet blood in between the two, but because my oldest sister married a Nicholson, my other sister married a Nicholson. My brother married a Nicholson, and my niece, who I'm talking to, was married to a
No.
Nicholson. So it's kind of like I guess we already knew each other from kids, but then when we got older, he came to the States. He took interest in me. I really couldn't stand him, to be honest. I didn't like him one bit, but he pursued me, and that was history from there. We started
Mhm.
dating secretly, and mom was like, "I'm not having this. I'm not having this." But as life have it, you know, I got pregnant,
Mhm.
and then we started living together. Years later, we decided to get married, and we did. But like as life has it, sometimes things don't always work out the way you'd like them to.
Right.
And you learn to accept those things. So we're divorced. He's now remarried, but we're still cordial to each other. We still have the kids, and not their fault. So
How old were you when you had your first child?
I was 19. I had just turned 19.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just turned
Okay.
19.
Okay. Let's see. Uh, Tell me a little bit about your how you came to your career or what when you were growing up, what did you want to be? And did you end up becoming what you wanted to be? And if not, why not?
Well, when I was younger, I wanted to be a police, believe
Mm.
it or not. And my mom and my dad said, no, you're going to be a mean ass police woman. I'm like, why? Because we already know your demeanor and your personality. I'm like, okay, fine. But growing up, while I was in school, I took a program that taught me everything there is to know about working in an office, how to interact with people, and how to deal with people in the corporate office. So while I worked with that program, I learned a lot of skills. And at the same time, while I was working, I was getting paid.
Mhm.
So I would go every Saturday to work part time. And my dad did not want me to work.
Mm.
And my mom says, we're going to tell him you're going to school. I said, okay, fine. So I would go. I did it for about 6 months. And then after I finished high school, I said, well, you know what? No, no, correction. While I was still in high school, I said, I have enough skills. I'm going to go apply at a law firm. Because in my mind, I thought, you know what? After knowing all these skills, I said, you know what? I think I could be an attorney because
Uh,
I'm the type of person that likes to solve problems. I'm for
mhm.
the underdog, give them a break. Um, I'm very, I get intrigued by different actions and things that I feel like someone else can look at. I feel I could do it better. Not
Mhm.
that I'm competitive, but I just feel there's more to it, and I'm not the type of person to give up.
Mhm.
So with that said, I went and worked for a law firm. The interview was very interesting because at the time, minimum wage was like $2.65, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so the attorney that interviewed me, it was only for like a data entry clerk, to help her out, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And when on the application it says, how much do you expect to be paid? I put $4. She called me in. She says, um, let's talk. I said, okay. She's like, I like your personality. She goes, you didn't have no qualms about asking me for more money.
Mhm.
She says, I like that about you. She says, I'm going to give you $4. I'm like, okay,
Oh,
thank you.
wow.
So I worked with her for a while. I learned a lot. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'd like to be an attorney one day. But, again, life has it. Things doesn't always turn out the way you want them to be.
Right.
But I did retain all of my office skills. And I think I've been blessed throughout the years that every job or opportunity that I was presented to me, and of course, back then, jobs were much easier to get rather
Right.
than there is now. I was fortunate that everywhere I went, I guess maybe it's because I'm a little outgoing in the way I
Mhm.
talk and in the way I speak, and I was able to get a job really easy. I worked for Fred Sands for what, over 15 years.
Oh,
Worked
wow.
in every department possible, learned everything. I could have even sold real estate, but
Mhm.
you have to have some cushion to do that. So I
Mhm.
didn't try to pursue that. Um, and now I work for, I'd rather not say their name only because of,
Mhm.
the kind of work we do, but one of the big fours downtown. So
Mhm.
I've been with them going on 10 years now. So it's always been for me, I've been in the office environment,
Mhm.
just doing challenging and interesting um, job duties, and I think for the past maybe what, 16 years, 18 years, I've been supporting people in the forensic field, which is
Oh,
very
wow.
interesting.
Sounds
I
interesting.
Yes, I see a lot, I hear a lot, but that is different because we have to sign certain compliances,
Mhm.
that
Confidential.
we can't talk about anything. Yeah, but I
Right.
enjoy it. I enjoy it. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to go crazy doing it, but I
Mhm.
get it done.
I know you had worked at San Manuel also
Yes,
for a while.
yes,
How long
I
did you work there?
did. It's funny how I started working there. The Indian tribe.
Mhm.
I had moved out to the Inland Empire,
Mhm.
and I temporarily took a part time job at a small real estate office.
Oh,
But I
okay.
just did that in the interim because I'm like, no, I know I can do more than this.
Mhm.
So while I was working there, they had the understanding that I may continue to search for employment somewhere else. So which was kind of nice of them. So I went to an agency, passed with flying colors, and they called me one day. They're like, "We have a job that I think you'd like." And they're like, "It's a casino." And I'm like, "A casino? I don't want to work in a casino." And the lady was like, "No, no, no, no. You'd be working with the tribe in the tribal office." I'm like, "Huh?" She's like, "Come on, give it a shot. Give it a shot." I said, "Okay, fine." So I went, and apparently they were trying to start up a new department called practice project development. It
Mhm.
was this one guy, but he needed some support to get
Mhm.
that department going. So I went, did the interview, spoke to him for over an hour. So I'm not even halfway home. The agency calls. They loved you. She says, "When can you start?" I'm like, well, I need to give these folks 2 weeks notice. They're like, "Well, they want you like next week." I says, "I can't do that." I says,
Mhm.
"I'm not used to doing that, and I have to keep my record straight." She's like, "Okay, let me talk to them." And she calls me back. She said, "Okay, they'll wait a week." I said, "Okay, all right." So I told my current employer at the time, and they're like, "Okay, we understand. We don't want you to leave, but you got to do what you got to do."
Mhm.
So I worked with them for what, almost 7 years.
Oh, wow.
I worked for them for almost 7 years in the tribal office. Got real close with a lot of tribal members, and
Mhm.
they treated me really good. They treated me like one of their own because they'd always say, "You look like one of us. You look like one of us." Or they would say, "Go take a blood test. Let's see if you're related to us." I never did, but yeah, I give them hats off. They really treated me well there, and a lot of people would say, "Why did you leave?" But like I said, life goes on. You have to do different things, and
Right.
came back to the Los Angeles area because at that time I was living out in the Inland Empire. So,
Mhm.
but no regrets. I currently like where I'm working, and I think if all goes well, I'll stay there until retirement. So,
How How long did you live in the Inland Empire?
I was out there for just under 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Realize you're out here this long.
Yeah, and I waited because certain family members said, "We're going to move out there. We're going to move out there." And of course, after I moved back to LA, then they all started
Everybody
moving
start
out
moving
there.
there.
Yes. So,
Yeah, and I know
yeah.
back then the homes were probably a lot cheaper than they
Oh,
are
yes,
now.
they were. They
Oh,
were. Yes,
wow.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, because now it's ridiculous, the
Mm.
prices. Whew. Okay, wow. Okay, so tell me about your what you like to do, like your hobbies, what interests you.
um, I love to dance. Love to dance. I like to be around people. I have my little group of, that you call them your girlfriends. You hang out with
Mhm,
sometimes. So occasionally, like on a Friday, they'll say, "Hey, Brenda, let's go hang out." We'll just go have a good time and then just to get out, get some air, and get away from reality.
mhm,
Um, I like to be able to help where I can. Of course, I've got my siblings. My sisters are always reaching out. "Hey, Brenda, how you do this? Help me with this. Help me with that." And they always call me the little computer whiz. So I'm there to help with that all the time. But um, just help where I can. Yeah, when I can and if I can.
mhm.
Yeah.
Which sibling would you say you're closest to?
I think it would depend on the time of my life during the time.
Mm,
Each through this course of my lifetime. Um, I think as a kid, it was between Glenda and Linda in the beginning
mhm.
because your mom was one of my first sisters to come over here. And I
Okay.
was still small, but she took care of me a lot.
Mhm,
She would dress me up, put on my little dresses, give me my little purse. I always loved my purses, of course. My pretty little shoes and socks. She treated me like a little princess. I can't deny
mhm,
that. And then life went on, I got close with Linda.
mhm,
Um, she'd be the one I'd run to, when I had homework. My mom would
mhm.
say, "Go to your sister's house. Have her help you with the homework." You know. And she'd always have her refrigerator well stocked. So everybody would go to her house because Aunt Linda had the goodies.
Right.
Yeah, and she was just always there for me, even when I was going through situations in my personal life. I'd call her and I'd go stay with her. She's like, "Come, just come." I'd go stay with her. But as I got older, I got closer. Not that I'm not still close to my other sisters, but I got closer to my sister Dolores, which we all call Madi.
Mhm,
And yeah, I think with her, I found that she kind of replaced um, someone I could always talk to, but she wouldn't judge me. Not to say that the others did, but there was just something special about her,
mhm.
And I knew if I said something to her, it's not going to go anywhere,
Right.
you know. And again, I don't want other sisters to feel any way. It's just there was something different.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's like that with a lot of other sisters. They do go to her just to,
Mhm.
and she's always the one they call first thing in the morning. "What are you doing? What are we doing today?" I always tell her, "Marty, you think you're my mom, don't you? You think you're my mom." But I love all my sisters. My oldest sister too, Lydia, she'd always give me the best advice.
Mhm.
It's like she could sense. I'd go visit her and she'd look at me. She goes, "What's going on?" You know, she our nickname was, she was biggest and I was littlest. She was the one that gave us that nickname. And I remembered when I'd go visit her, she'd tell me, she just knew right away. I guess older sisters have that instinct.
Mhm. Right.
She's like, "What's going on? You got something going on? Talk to me." And she wouldn't tell me what to do, but she would give me advice.
Mhm.
And I appreciate that. So that was always nice. Yeah. But yeah, I love all my other sisters. They're all special in their own way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about in your school days? Did you have a best friend? Someone are you still in contact with them?
I had one friend, her name was Selma. And I think she was the only one I knew in school who was actually from Belize.
Oh,
And
okay.
I would always run into her throughout the years, and she
Mhm.
would recognize me right away. And for some reason, I'd see her and I didn't remember her. And now I hear somebody hollering, Brenda, Brenda, Brenda. I'm like, oh my God, it's Selma. She can't hide from Selma. She knew me. But I would say she's about probably the only one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What about when you graduated from high school? Tell me
Hmm.
about, because you went to your prom, right?
I went to my prom. I
Tell me
did.
about that.
My prom was very interesting because at that time, like I said, um, the father of my kids, we were kind of like sneaking around.
Mhm.
And my mom told me straight out, "You're not going to the prom with him." And I'm like, I was not happy about that.
Mhm.
So I had a friend, like we all have friends, that I asked. And of course, his mom thought, I was going to be his girlfriend and I was going to marry this guy. I'm like, no, I don't like your son like that. But in any case, I took the opportunity to have him take me to the prom because I wanted to go to my prom. So,
Right.
I sacrificed that much. It's okay, you know, but no regrets there.
Where was it at?
It was, I trying to remember. I believe it was downtown. I don't even know if that hotel is there anymore. I think it's where the new Intercontinental Hotel is,
Oh,
right
okay.
across from where I work. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't
Okay.
remember the name of that hotel.
Oh, so I guess from throughout the years, I guess they still in LA have a lot of the proms in downtown. Because mine
Mm-hmm.
was, I think it was, I'm not sure if it's the Biltmore or the
Mm-hmm.
Bonaventure. One of those. I had mine there. Hmm. So you never spoke to your prom date after those years? You never ran into him, never got in contact with him again. You guys
We
never.
were friends for a while, but after that, no, he went on to his own life, and then I ended
Hmm.
up with my children's father. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, can you tell me a little bit about growing up and religion? What
Girl,
religion did you grow up under?
um, my mom was Catholic, and she took me to the Catholic church
Mm.
for Easter, Christmas, whatever it may be, but I'd always fall asleep in church because I felt bored. As a kid, you don't know any better, and you're like, "Oh,
Right.
this is boring." But when I got older, I got introduced to the Nazarene church, which
Hmm.
I enjoyed very much. I thought it was more lively,
Hmm.
and all my sons were baptized in the Nazarene church, and I got married in the Nazarene church.
Hmm.
So from there, I just continued with that religion of, as you call it, a Christian.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's where I usually go is to a Nazarene church, which I recently went to church for Easter.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
So when you were raised in the Catholic church, did you do the first communion and the confirmation? Did you go through those?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't. No. And I think that's why I leaned over to the Nazarene
Hmm.
religion. Yes.
And what about your dad? Was he religious?
It's interesting because he was brought up Catholic as well, but when
Hmm.
he got older and needed his own comfort, he
Hmm.
actually joined a Christian church himself.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Hmm. That's good.
Hmm.
Okay. So this is an interesting question. If if someone wrote an autobiography about you,
Hmm.
what would the name of it be? Or what would you want it to be called? Something that suits you, I guess your personality or your life.
Um, I would say you could knock her down, but she will still get back up.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because I've had an interesting life. Um, yeah, but I think everything that I've encountered in my life I consider myself to be strong.
Mhm.
Um, at the moment, I'm sensitive and maybe I'll cry about it, but I let it out and I
Mhm.
continue and I move forward. And because of my strong belief in prayers and so forth, I think that's what keeps me afloat and keeps me going. Because sometimes you see people and you see them smiling and laughing, going out having a good time, and people misinterpret that as, oh, she's not sad, she doesn't have any problems, but that's not true. Sometimes those things are just a distraction
Right.
for oneself to keep you going.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So tell us about, because I know you like to travel. Tell us about places you have traveled, your most favorite place traveled, a little bit about your past and your traveling.
um, well, I haven't really traveled to that many places. Of course, I always love going back home to Belize because I just feel so tranquil. I feel like I can forget about reality and just when I'm there, I don't even know what day it is. And you know that because when we go there, we just enjoy life.
Right.
So that would be my first enjoyment. I always wanted to go to what's the country name? It's the place is something down under. What's it called again? Where the
Um,
kangaroos are.
uh, uh, uh,
How can I
um,
not think of this?
it starts with an A, right?
I believe so. Yeah, but we'll get back to that. But one place I did always want to go to was New York, and I had the pleasure of going there along with my sister Maddie and her daughter-in-law and her son. And it was kind of like a last-minute thing. I decided to go,
Oh yeah,
and
I
I
was there
had
too.
oh, that's right, you were there, and I had the best time of my life.
Yeah, that
We
was
had an
fun.
interesting trip. I got to see places I never thought I'd see, all these different monuments and
Mhm.
landmarks, and that was a great trip. I loved that,
Yeah,
and I wouldn't mind doing that again. Yeah,
yeah, because we went to Washington
yeah,
and
Washington
what's the
D.C.
Annapolis? How was that? What was the name of that little town that we were in, the little city? But we
Oh,
stayed.
with the Apollo, where they have the Apollo show.
Uh, no, no.
Is it the Bronx?
When we went to visit Nicole's aunt and uncle.
Oh, that was that in Baltimore.
Yes,
I think that was in
but it's
Baltimore. Yes,
a little area and something and a poly and I had liked it.
Annapolis,
Yeah,
Annapolis,
Annapolis. Yes,
Annapolis. Yes,
yes, yes.
yes,
Yeah, I liked
yes,
there also.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do. If I don't know what life holds ahead of me, but I wish I could have the opportunity to go to Greece.
Oh yeah.
I would love to go to Greece
Yeah, you would
or
love it.
Italy, one of the two. We'll
Hmm.
see what happens.
I like Greece. I didn't get to go to Santorini. I wanted to go to Santorini, but I went to Athens and I
Mm,
went to a lot of the historical sites, and it was a nice nice visit.
hmm.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So, what about retirement? Are you
Oh
close
wow.
to retirement?
Oh, don't even go there with me.
It
It's
whenever your
funny. I was just
time
telling some of
comes,
my.
what's your plan for
Oh
retirement? You plan to
man.
stay here? You plan to move away?
Yeah. Should we even touch that subject now? I've had people ask, "Oh, you retired and believe?" I should say, "Stay tuned." No, I'm kidding.
Part two, huh?
No, but coincidentally, I recently had a conversation with some of my colleagues at work, and I told them, "Boy, I got 4 years under my belt. Should I retire at 62 or wait the 4 more years?" So I'm just gonna see how long I can hold out.
Mhm.
See how things go with the government we have going on right now. I mean, anything is expected. So it's
Right.
just we just got to take it one day at a time, and that's what I'm doing. So as much as I'd love to retire now, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna stay put at my current job until you know time allows me to take that step and retire. Um, I think depending on what the time is during that time, I would like to be able to do something like what my older sister did, go to Belize, stay a few months, come back, and still have the luxury of living in the States.
Right.
And then, of course, go other places if possible.
Hmm.
Maybe Greece.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I would like to do is be able to spend a couple of months in Belize and then
Hmm.
come back. Yeah. Okay. Share with me your how you were or what your personality was as, I guess, a child or young adult.
It's interesting because as a child, I was very quiet. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't say much, but I observed everything and didn't miss a thing. And the reason for that is because my mom was so strict. You wouldn't dare answer her. You wouldn't dare. She gave you a look, or boy, you were going to get it afterwards. So she put a lot of fear in me. But you know what? At the same time, I am thankful for her being that way because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the strong woman that I am today. She
Hmm.
taught me how to hold my own. She certainly did. Yeah,
So she was a disciplinary one.
she was. Yeah, she was the type that she taught you how to hold your own. But I give her this much: when you were sick, she took care of you. She let
Mhm.
her guard down. She took care of you. She nursed you back to health, and after that, you're back on your own again.
What about your dad? How was his personality?
I think he was a little bit more endearing, even though him and I had our ups and downs. But
Mm-hmm.
when he was there, because I was his only daughter. I had a stepsister, but she wasn't blood related. He just raised her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when it was good, it was good with him. I give him that much. Yeah, he treated me well, but unfortunately, yeah, like I said, we had our ups and downs, but that's behind me now. So
How old were you when he was no longer with your mom?
um I would say I was about maybe like 12
Okay.
from what I can remember. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe like 12.
Okay. Okay, now we're gonna go over a little bit about your favorites, okay?
My favorite. Oh,
Like, what is your favorite color?
I love red.
Okay.
Red and burgundy is my favorite.
Okay. Your favorite song?
My favorite song. Let's see. Um, my favorite song. I think love wise. There's a song. I think it's Whitney Houston that sings it. I will always love you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that song. Um, and being someone that likes to dance, I like the fast soca hype music. um, and I love this one that's been out for some years now. And yeah, that's me until I'm old and gray. That's me. No, there's no stopping me. I'm gonna keep going until they call me up there. Then I keep me going.
Okay, your favorite meal or type of food?
My favorite meal. Of course, I like my Belizean tradition 1, 2, 3. Who doesn't like that as a Belizean? But
Mhm.
I like to cook what we call the Belizean black dinner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and also the relleno. And the
Mhm.
reason for that is because my mom used to have me help her, and we, of course, we make the long way. It was not easy, which they
I
call
don't know.
that the relleno. There's two forms. There's the regular chimole. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
chimole is just the black dinner itself, and
Mm-hmm.
relleno is the one where you have to go a little bit further and you have to stuff the chicken and do the ground either meat or pork meat, whatever it is that you use. And it was a longer process.
Oh,
They
okay. I
taste
never had
the
that. Like,
same, just that one had a little more flavor to it. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
And my sister, Maud, I'm going to mention her name again. She loves it. So she always tells me, I want you to come and make this for me because I like yours.
Hmm.
And escabeche. Good with that. My mom taught me how to make that too.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
never used to like that when I was younger, but when
Hmm.
I got older, then I became to like it.
Yeah. But as far as American food, I would say pasta. I like pasta dishes.
Mm.
Hmm.
Like chicken pasta, seafood pasta.
You name it.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
What about movie?
Movies. Um, I like drama movies, adventure. I think one of my all-time favorites was Gone with the Wind and Titanic.
Okay.
Hmm.
Do you have any favorite actors or actresses?
Yes, Liam Neeson. I love his
Oh
acting. I
yeah.
love because he's the one that says, "I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I like
find
his
you and I'm gonna get you."
I do because all his movies are action. So I like his movies as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And for the woman, I would say Elizabeth Taylor.
Hmm.
Comedy, Lucille Ball. I
Oh
love
yeah.
me some Lucy.
Do you have a favorite mm, type of car or a dream car that you ever wanted?
Yes, I always say before I close these eyes, I need to get a BMW.
Oh,
I know they have a saying for the BMW, and I don't know if I can say it on here, but I said no, that's not what it means. BMW means Brenda's main wheels.
that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah, but yeah, I like my SUVs, and funny because I have one sister always tells me you should have gotten a bigger one. You know, you've got this many sisters, and I'm like, are you guys gonna help me pay for it? And I'm always the designated driver, of course.
When did you get your license? How old were
Oh
you?
wow, I got my license when I was 15 years old.
Mm.
Back then, you could do that. Um, and off the record and in the record, I actually started driving when I was 13.
Oh wow.
There's an interesting reason for that because back then I would on the weekends I'd go to my dad to spend the weekend,
Hmm.
and my stepmom, Miss Mercedes, she had lots of friends that would invite her to parties and that sort of thing. But my dad would get a little bit, a little bit too much, and she didn't like him driving. So one evening we were at one of their friends' party, and she's like, "You think you can drive your dad's car?" I'm like, "Yeah, I
What?
can." I said, "Yeah, I can do that." She says, "You think so?" I said, "Yes, I would watch him do it." And she told my dad, "You're not driving tonight because you've just had a little too much." She says, "Even if we go on the street, give your daughter the key." And I took the key, jumped in the car, and got us home. Ever since then, I
Wow.
became their designated driver.
So Miss
Yeah.
Mercedes, she never knew how to drive?
No, she never knew how to drive. No,
Oh
no.
wow. And
Yeah.
you weren't nervous?
No, I wasn't.
Well,
I was
he's like,
excited.
I got this.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was like, I
Sorry.
got this,
I got
huh?
interrupted just now. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And ever since then, and then when I turned 15, my brother took me to go do a driving test, and I passed.
Oh,
I
okay.
passed. Yeah, I had to pass. He told me, "I'm bringing you to get this driving test. Don't come here." Didn't pass that test. That was my brother Pedro.
So you
But I
didn't have to
passed.
get a driving instructor to do like a certain amount of hours or anything like that
No,
behind the
not at
wheel?
all.
Oh,
No,
really?
because back then in high school we had driver's ed, and we had the simulated cars where we'd sit
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yes, and they would take us out on the
Right.
streets. And there was I would say maybe 10 of the students in there. Was like two of us that already knew how to drive, but I was one of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I remember we had that too, but I still had got a driving instructor.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, okay. Can you share what how do you feel that your I guess your style is, your fashionista style? What would you consider your type of style?
Um, I think my style now has definitely changed from back when I was younger because I think I grew up a little bit too fast when I was younger. Um, so some back then, I wasn't into fashion because of the way things were. I didn't even own a pair of jeans back then. I didn't wear jeans.
Oh.
It was just your basic clothes. I didn't even wear makeup because your dad didn't want me to wear makeup, and.
Mhm.
But I think my whole dress image changed
Mhm.
when I got divorced.
Mm.
I lost weight. I cut my hair. And a colleague of mine, she's like, "Come on, Brenda, we're going shopping. I'm going to teach you a new trend." I'm like, "Okay, let's go." And she even taught me how to get retail in bargain. So that's how I learned, a friend of
Mm.
mine. And ever since then, I would look at magazines, look at TV, and see what's in style, what's in trend. And that's how I changed my whole way of dressing. So I like to be able to look nice all the time,
Mm.
and ever since I was young, I had a good knack for doing like makeup. I would even do like my
Mhm.
sister-in-laws, my nieces for their prom, and my sisters, and it was just something I could say I was good at doing. So I could do my
Mhm.
own face, do my own hair, and yeah, and I always like to look nice when I go out. I do. That's just me. That's my
Mhm.
image, and that's how I carry myself. Because I think that's the way my mom was too. No
Mhm.
matter what, she always looked well put together.
Mhm. You had
That
did
is,
my face for prom too.
I did.
Yes.
Wow, I'm getting old. I forgot.
Yes, you sure did.
I
You did my makeup. Yeah, I remember.
forgot.
We was living on Budlong.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I did. Now, okay, I'm glad you said Budman. I remember that. Oh gosh, I tell you, my family's just too big. But as far as my personality, I think everybody knows I have a very strong personality. I'm not afraid to speak up. You know that. But for good reason. Maybe some people think I come across so strong sometimes when I respond to certain situations, but
Mhm.
no bad intent. That's just sometimes you have to have that just to get what needs to get done. And I
Mhm.
use that same type of personality um, in my job where I work, and they appreciate that. They
Mhm.
know, they know professionally. They know they already know me, and they said, whatever we ask Brenda to do, she's going to get it done because she's a go getter. She takes no for an answer, and she's going to find a way to get it done. And of course, working in the office industry, you have to have a certain type of personality.
Mhm.
So you're strong, but at the same time, you have to be respectful.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I think that's why I wanted to be an attorney.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take it back a little bit because I forgot to ask you this one question. I asked you about
Hmm.
your dad.
Hmm.
I forgot to ask you about your mother. Did you know anything or any names or information about her siblings?
No, I don't. I learned most of what I kind of know from my siblings
Hmm.
about some of her families. I know her. She lost her mom in childbirth. She has, I think, brothers that lived at Kikaka, I guess.
Hmm.
I'm not sure about the city, so I'm a little vague about that information. It's just what I've heard.
Hmm.
So I don't want to answer something I'm not quite sure of.
Right.
Yeah. But I do know she carries the Rivero bloodline, and
Hmm.
we've learned to interact with most of them and get to know who's who and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Hmm.
And speaking of bloodlines, I must say, and I don't think they get honored enough,
Hmm.
but I think if it wasn't for these two ladies, us as a big family, we wouldn't all be here right now. And that would be my mom
Hmm.
and Miss Roselle, because the
Oh, yeah.
Nicholsons and the Pelalos, I mean, we're like the royal family.
Right.
Yes.
I know, because with those two having so many children,
Yes.
and then everybody, the ones that connected and married,
Mhm.
and yeah,
Yeah.
made a very big family.
Yeah. You
Kids,
want to hear a funny story though?
grandkids,
When
great grandkids.
you want to hear a funny story, when I was going to school with Jackie, my niece,
Hmm.
and her and Anthony are cousins, and they'd
Hmm.
always say, "You're dating your nephew." I'm like, "No, he's not related to me."
Yeah, people get confused when you try to explain the dynamics of our family. Yeah, I would get confused too if I was on the outside. That's funny. um, let's see. With Granny Palayo, do you know what what name was? Because I know her name had Barbara, her name had Crispina, but which one was her actual birth name? And did she, the one that was her birth name, was that the name that she used, or everybody used to call her by that name?
um, I know her name was Barbara, but I think it was Crispina Barbara
Hmm.
because all of her friends would call her Pinita.
Okay.
Pinita was her nickname, or Pina.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember she had a nickname. I think Pina is, I think, the what I remember.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I always wondered. I was like, is it Barbara? Is it Crispina? And I did look it up afterwards, but I can't remember at this moment which it was, because I did look up the birth certificate.
Mhm.
I can't remember which was first. Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything else that you can remember or share in regards to your history, your ancestral history, your genealogical history, your bloodline, other last names that you're related to, blood related to, that you can share?
Um, on my mom's side, again, just what I've been told. She said that her dad was from Spain.
Mm,
Uh huh. Um, so I guess that's the Rivero name. And
mm-hmm,
there's also, I think, the Canto,
mm-hmm,
which I've met one person who's claimed they were related to my mom, but I don't know how true that is.
mm-hmm.
And I've actually ran into this one. Well, no, it's a friend of mine who's married to a gentleman. Last name is Rivero,
Oh, okay.
and he swears that him and my mom were cousins.
Oh,
Had the same fair red skin, freckle
mm-hmm.
face, but I don't know. I can't confirm it.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah. On my dad's side, um, like I said, he was born in Yucatan,
Mm-hmm.
so he's Mayan, and so was my grandma, like your typical little Indian lady. My dad would always say, "You're the spitting image of your granny in looks and personality."
You probably could claim some land.
I know my
The
siblings
Indian
always tell
rights
me
that
that.
they have.
They're like, "Why don't you go back to San Manuel and take that blood test?
Right.
You might have something sitting there."
Yeah, because I think some of the Indians, the Native Americans, I believe, like, I think their kids are able to go to like school or college free. They didn't have to
Mhm.
pay. I think there's other benefits that they get for their Native American heritage. I'm not sure what it is,
Mhm.
but I believe there is some,
Mhm.
like the land that they receive. Okay, share some things that matter the most to you.
Um. Well, for me, my main thing are my my sons.
Mhm,
Um. My biggest thing for them is for them to have happiness and peace. Um. When you're younger, you want this, you want that, but as you get older and you mature, you learn what's more of value.
mhm,
And like anybody else, everybody has challenges in their life, and you know, some of my sons have had or are facing challenges. And the one thing I do every morning, I always pray for them. Because when I was younger, I used to worry a lot. But worrying doesn't really help you.
Mm-hmm.
So all I can do in this point in time of my life is just pray for them when I wake up in the morning, pray for them when I go to sleep at night, and
Mm-hmm.
just leave it in God's hands, knowing He'll take care of everything. So there are my main cause for living and for their happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, as far as my family goes, um, I always say I'm not rich, and I always tell this to others within the family. I says we're not rich, but one thing we have to say we're blessed because we have such a big family.
Right.
You know, I've even had outside friends tell me they're like, Brenda, we admire your family so much. She says, you have family, they don't get along, they barely talk to each other. But my God, you guys, when you guys get together, you guys have such a good time, and man, that is such a blessing. I said, yeah, we don't have to invite strangers because our family's so big.
Right.
It's like, recently, we celebrated my sister-in-law's 80th birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a surprise. So before she got there, and I walked in and I looked at everyone. I'm like, oh my God, I know everybody in here. Where do I start? So you walk in and you wave, but I'm like, and this is not everybody. And I'm like,
Right.
wow, this is a blessing to see this. It fills your heart when you see that.
Right.
To know no matter what, we are always there for each other. We have our little differences, that's life. We
Mm-hmm.
get over it. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, we're always there for each other. And I think that's what matters the most for
Mm-hmm.
me. And I see that in my family. And I just pray that we continue to be that way,
Mm-hmm.
that we don't judge each other because, none of us are perfect. You
Right.
know, none of us are perfect. You may have your lifestyle, I may have my lifestyle, but at the end, we still have to be there for each other because we're still family.
Right.
And that's what's important to me. Yeah.
I think when we celebrated Aunt Muz's 80th birthday, I think that not only she was surprised, I think everyone else there walking in the door was surprised as well to see. So, because I know I
Yes.
was shocked myself. It was almost like they were telling me surprise. Because when I walked in, I didn't expect to see so many families, so many
Yes.
people. So
And
I
that's
was
love.
taken back. Yeah, I was taken back. Like, whoa, where did everybody? These people come from? I couldn't even see. Like, I was like, there's too many people to say hi
That's
to.
right. And it's all family. It's all
Yes,
family.
yes,
That's our international family.
yeah,
Every shape, color, and size, you name it, we got it.
right. Yeah, because I didn't even get to say hi to everyone because there was so many
Yes,
of us.
exactly. And for a minute there, I felt kind of bad because I'm like, oh, I hope they didn't think I was ignoring them. But it was
Right.
so much going on. I'm like, oh, there's so and so, or
Yeah.
there's so and so.
From a distance. You're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful time, a beautiful moment.
Yes. Yes.
It
That was
feels
definitely,
special.
definitely, yes. It was a fabulous
Mhm.
occasion. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so list or name um a thing or things that you feel that you cannot live without.
I cannot live without. Um, my faith, and I definitely learned that as I got older. Because
Mhm.
when you're young, you take life for granted,
Right.
and you think, oh yeah. But when you get older, you learn that, and and not to force it on anyone because everybody has their own beliefs and so forth. But my
Mhm.
belief is, and my older sister would always tell me this. She'd always throw it in my tummy. Lilith, keep that faith. Believe me, it works. It
Mhm.
works. Have the faith. I think even my sister Linda would tell me that too. Have faith. And you do learn just to have faith and be strong. And no matter what you're going through, that's what's going to keep you going,
Mhm.
to have faith and trust.
Right.
And it's funny because my dad gave me a quote once in Spanish. He said, I don't know if I'm sure some folks will understand it. And he knew I was going through something, and he said, listen to this word. He says, and never forget it. And he says, this is what the good Lord said. He said, who are you of little faith not to have trust in me?
Mhm.
Always remember that. Leave it in my hands, and with me, everything will be possible, and you can move in your life every day. And that's what I do. And again, I'm not trying to like throw religion at anyone. I'm just saying that's what I feel I cannot do without. Because
Right.
without that, you don't wake up every morning. And that's how I vision myself. Every other
Mhm.
folks might see it differently,
Right.
but for me, that's my comfort. Yeah.
Okay. Mm, do you have any regrets in life, or is there, or if there's something that you could have went back and changed? Is there something that you would want to change?
Whew. Um, you're gonna get me a little sentimental. um, if I could turn back the time, I would like my sons to be little again.
Hmm.
So this would be different. Yeah, from what I've learned as an adult, and I'd like for them to be little again, so I could bring them up differently. I'm
Hmm.
sorry, I don't mean to get mushy,
Oh, that's
but
okay.
yeah, because they're my heartbeat, they're my life,
Hmm.
and yeah, if I could turn back the time, it would be to enjoy life differently with them,
Hmm.
do things differently, and bring them up a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I tell my kids parenting doesn't come with a handbook.
no,
I tell my son, no parents are perfect. I said, and you guys may not like some of the things that us as parents say, do, or try to discipline you with, but just know that everything that we do is out of love. I said,
hmm
but we're not perfect. We make mistakes like everybody else. And like I said, we're learning as we're going along, raising them. So they need to understand that, we did the best that we had with the tools that we had.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, it's funny you ask me that because I've had occasions where I run into younger moms.
Hmm.
You see them with their kids, and they're like, "Oh, these kids are driving me nuts." And I look at them and say, "You know what? They might be driving you nuts, but enjoy them now when they're
Right.
little. Enjoy them now because you only get it once."
Hmm. And time
hmm
goes so fast.
Yes. So who you
Oh,
telling?
so fast. I know. Yeah, when I look at mine, their faces, I'm like, I can't believe you guys are adults because they
Yeah.
don't look like, in my eyes, they don't look like adults. I mean,
hmm
they still look like, especially Tiffy. I think she still looks like 17, 18. I'm like, you guys are in your 30s, or close to your 30s, and it's just, and then times are different. Like, because at their age, we were already parents. We were living a life adulting already.
Yes. 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 I know. I grew up too fast, and I grew up too fast that I was felt like I was becoming an older person quicker than I needed to be.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then life changed for me, and I saw life in a whole different perspective and changed the way things are to make the most of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. Um, is there anything that you have or do fear in life?
I'm not a fearful person,
Hmm.
but my only fear is, and I think with any mom to ever hear something happen to one of your kids,
Hmm.
I don't know how I would handle that. I really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see what else I got for you. Um, have you ever been a sleepwalker? Have you ever, or do you talk in your sleep?
I don't think I'm a sleepwalker, but I I I think I've heard someone say you talk in your sleep. It's funny because um about a couple weeks ago, my niece was staying a few days with me, and she started laughing when I woke up. She was like, "Boy, you were having some sort of conversation last night, but I couldn't understand. I was trying to figure out what you were saying." I'm like, "Oh wow, it's a good thing I didn't say anything I probably shouldn't have said."
That's funny.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard. Yeah, you talk in your sleep. Maybe I was speaking in tongues for good reason.
Yeah, Wayne, he talks in his sleep. And I told him the last time, I said, I should have recorded you. I said, next time I'm going to try to record you if I can remember. Okay, next question. Do you have a favorite Christmas carol?
um, I'll be home for Christmas.
That's nice.
Hmm.
Okay. Is there something that you want to share that you feel is like something wild or crazy that has happened to you?
Um, I don't know if it's wild or crazy. I think to me it's funny. I find as I get older, you know how to say you age like fine wine. And no, I'm not bragging. It's just things that happen to me. I mean, and I always tell my sisters, and they just look at me like, yeah, whatever.
I think
But
we got good genes though.
yeah, you know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
And my kids, they can't stand it. They're like, don't you know you could be their mother? No, but it's like no matter with or without makeup or dressed or not dressed up, I attract a lot of younger
Hmm.
um males.
Right. I'll be
Yeah.
like, yeah, we were blessed with the youth look.
I think it's funny. I just laugh.
You think that's from what? Brenda Palayo, the youth?
I think um I think it's probably could be my personality too, because people misinterpret me being kind for me thinking I want them. It's happened
Oh,
before.
okay.
It's happened before. It's like, no,
Like,
that's not
is
my
she
intention.
flirting or what?
No, but yeah, I think some of it stems from both my mom and my dad. Yeah, yeah, because my mom was very outgoing.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, he was a believe it or not, he was a people person. A lot of people. He had lots of friends and loved by a lot on his side of his family. So, and yeah, it came from both sides.
Did when he came over here, your dad, did he have any family out here?
No,
So,
no.
so from what I hear, when he left Mexico, moved to Belize, got married, we're going to Palayo, like he just left his family, everybody behind and just lived.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
But you did say you guys went back and visited. That's how you met all his
Yes.
siblings and stuff.
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
Wow.
Hmm. Yeah.
That
And
was
I know my siblings prior to them coming over because during the summer, that's back when the road was a little bit safer to drive. My dad would drive down and we'd stay down there for a while during the summer. And that's how I get to know them. And I was excited and hoping one day that we'd all be together.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's brave though of him because like us, we stick together. Our whole family is a tight knit. But for
Hmm.
him to not stay with that, just I mean, like completely move out a whole to a different country.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
that's very brave. So
But
wow.
he would still visit them. He would still go visit them, and he would take me with him.
Did they ever
You
come
know,
over here to visit?
none of them. No, not until a couple of my cousins. I don't know if you remember Raina.
Is she the one that
She
lives in Chetumal?
Virginia, Virginia. Yeah, she came to the
Oh
states.
no, I don't think I know her then.
Yeah, Virginia. She came here to the states. She lived with me for a little. She was with my dad for a little bit, and she came to live with me when I was living in the Inland Empire in Paris.
Oh.
And then she decided to go to Virginia. A friend of hers told her come there because she could get her a job, and that's where she met her husband. And now she lives there and has her family. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, she's the only one that came to the states.
Wait,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting. Okay. So tell me, what is your favorite way to spend a Saturday?
I like to go out with my sisters. We'll go out, go shopping, try to find some bargains. And then we have our little entertainment. We like to go to the casino. Yeah, yeah.
What qualities do you most value in, or that you look for in friends?
I like. I don't like when I'm sugar coated. Just
Mm-hmm.
be honest and tell me like it is. And I might not like it, but at least they're honest about it. You know. I like them to be outgoing and fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like party poopers. I just, because life is to be enjoyed.
Right.
You know.
They're the same.
Yeah, and ever since COVID, it really gave you a whole different perspective on
Oh,
life. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, you can't take life for granted.
that's true. Very
Yeah,
true.
but yeah.
Mm. What about, do you have a favorite book? Do you read often? Do you like to read?
I don't read like I used to. When I was younger, I did, and I was like the number one person to put up their hand to read in school. But the one book I did read was Flowers in the Attic.
Oh, okay.
Flowers in the Attic. I read the book before the movie even came out.
Mhm.
I
Did you
was
watch
like,
the movie?
stick to that book like glue. Yes,
You saw the movie as well?
I did. I did.
Mm,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. It wasn't the same, but it was close enough. But the book is, yeah, you felt like you were right there.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah, I
never
think it was
read the
like,
book, but
yeah,
yeah,
the
I
book.
saw the movie.
Do you do you still read?
Me?
Uh-huh.
I try to. I have a couple books that I started, but I didn't get through. Lately, I haven't got through them. So I also tried doing the audiobooks, try to
Mm-hmm.
get through them.
Yeah.
Because like going on some of the mission trips, that's like one of the requirements. We have
Okay.
like a book club before we actually leave.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like we have to read, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't read as much as I would like to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let's see. Mm-mm. What about flower? You have a favorite flower?
I love flowers in general, but I love roses. I
Oh.
love my roses. Love roses. Um, yeah, I just love flowers in general. I'm not a plant person because I don't have a green thumb. People would give me plants and I take care of them as best as I could, but no. But I think after roses it'd probably be orchids. I love orchids too. Yeah.
Okay.
But give me a bouquet of flowers and I just go in awe. I'm like, I just, yeah, I love flowers.
What about uh this could be any time of your life. As a child, growing up, youth, were you ever into or played sports?
Actually, in high school, I was very active. I was really good at tennis.
Oh.
And I always that no, that's a sport regret because when I was in high school, I was very good with tennis because prior to tennis, I was the only girl who played racquetball with the boys.
Oh,
So I used to be
interesting.
like a little tomboy. And racquetball is not easy. You have to have speed, technique, everything. And after racquetball, I got interested in tennis.
Mm-hmm.
And I did really well that the coach even wanted to recruit me to go on to finals. But no, you're young and silly, and now I want to be in drill team. So
Mm-hmm.
now every time I see Serena Williams, and I'm like, that could have been me. I got the whole gear, the racquetball. I had everything. I even had they call tennis elbow.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, yeah, I think I kind of blew it on that one. Yeah,
Oh, wow. How long did you play
definitely.
for?
I played throughout high school.
Okay.
Yeah, throughout high school.
And how long did you do, you said drill?
Drill team. I
Mm-hmm.
did that in my senior year.
Oh,
Senior
okay.
year, and then when I started high school, I did gymnastics.
Oh, you did.
Gymnastics, yes, I did gymnastics. When I first started off, everyone's got like their little girl shape, and I remember the coach, the woman coach, telling me, "Okay, you guys all have your little girly shape right now, but by the time you're done with this class, you'll have an actual physique." And
Mm-hmm.
it's true, you did. Your whole body changed. And um, I was all bruised up the first couple months because we did the uneven bars, all that was to
Mm-hmm.
be expected. But yeah, I did gymnastics, did the straddle bar, everything.
Yeah, that
Walked
seems
on the
hard.
walked the tall bar and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think I was pretty active in high school. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hmm. What about fan of sports? Do you like to watch sports? What type of sports do you like? You enjoy?
I like to watch basketball,
Hmm.
and football. I like football.
Do you have any favorite teams
Yeah, of
or
course,
players?
Lakers. My Lakers. Clippers second. For football, I like it's the one with Mahone. What is his team again?
I don't know
Is it
football.
Kansas City?
I'm not a football person. I don't
Okay,
know.
it's Mahone. The
My
football player's
phone.
name is Mahone. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But and then if they have tennis tournaments, I don't mind watching that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, the tennis tournaments. So.
Um. Okay, so this is completely different, but what is your shoe size?
Oh goodness. Well, my shoe size, it depends on my weight. If I lose weight, it's a size 8. If I'm a little, what they call fluffy, it's 8.5. But interesting, they always used to say every time you have a child, your foot grows. It's
Hmm.
true. It is true. Because when I had my first child, I was a size 7. And for every child, it went up a half a size. So it's true.
Yeah, I believe that. What about allergies? Do you have any allergies? You allergic to anything?
I used to. I don't know what I did to make it change. Maybe it was my diet or the environment, but there was a couple years where I had the worst allergies possible. I couldn't even wear makeup.
Hmm.
I was sneezing, my eyes were running, and like it was horrible. I tried every medicine possible, but eventually went away. So I'm not sure. Maybe with the climate change and whatever's going
Mhm.
on in this world, I still get maybe a little sniffle every now and then, but nothing much to talk about. Yeah,
Do you have
but
any alert allergies to like medication, food, anything like that?
medicine, yes. I can't do penicillin and I can't do morphine. And
Mm.
I learned those the hard way. Morphine, they accidentally injected me with it because I thought they said Motrin.
Oh.
Yeah, I had an injury in one of my employers, and I don't want to mention their name,
Mhm.
but I had fell and I almost broke my ankle. And I thought the guy said at the time, because I was so out of it, do you mind if I give you Motrin? I thought he was giving me for pain. Not knowing it was morphine. And I passed out. I totally passed out, and they freaked out. And they ran me to the emergency room, and Yeah, the doctor was like, no, she's allergic. Don't ever give her that again. And then with penicillin, I was in Belize. I took a little hiatus one time, and I was there for like 9 months.
Hmm.
And I think my hand was allergic to like the dishwashing, the soap,
Oh.
and they got all blistered. So my mother-in-law at the time told me go to the pharmacy and ask for penicillin ointment. And I went and got the penicillin ointment, put it on my hand, and my hands, they all popped. They popped and busted open. I had slits all down each of my hand. I was
What?
freaking out. And she's like, "Oh my God, you're allergic to it." So she immediately had me go, wash my hand and put
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff. And I told the doctor, he's like, "No, no, no, no." He says, "No." He says, "We have to put in your chart, no penicillin, because if it did that to your hands, I can just imagine, what it would do to
Right.
you to
The
swallow a
pills.
pill."
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so yeah. So
Yeah.
that's on my medical chart. No morphine and no penicillin.
I think penicillin is one of the most common medication that people are allergic to.
Yes.
Hmm. Okay, let's see what else. Do you know, or did your parents or mom share with you, like when you were a baby, your first words, when you started walking, what age? Do you know any stories in regards to?
Um, no, I think the only thing she shared with me was that she says you were one greedy baby. She says I had to wean you off because all you wanted was breast, breast, breast. I had to send you to your grandma. She said so you would stop asking for my breast. She said I was a chubby baby. At least that's what she said. I don't know how true that was, but yeah.
Do you know how much you weighed when you were born?
She said I weighed almost. She said I was over 9 pounds.
Oh, so you're a pretty
Yeah,
big baby.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. That's why I was so hungry.
Do you know if she had you naturally C-section?
Naturally,
Oh, okay.
naturally. As far as I know, back then, naturally, yeah. Yeah.
And you're a lucky
Although it's
baby.
funny because although I used to tell her, "Mom, you sure you didn't adopt me? Because you don't look like my mom." I used to tell her, "You sure you didn't adopt me?" I just, I know my dad. I said, "But you don't look like my mom." And she put me in my place. That's a rock.
Well, lucky too, that you were able to she was able to have you in the hospital, because I think in Belize most um people delivered through doula,
Midwives,
midwife doula. Yeah.
midwives.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, so share. I know you're from Belize, but how would you describe yourself? Because I know you haven't taken the DNA genealogy,
I
but
know. I need to do
you
that.
did take it. If you did take it, what would your nationality? What would come up? What would you have on your test?
Probably a lot of Indian blood.
Hmm.
A lot of Indian blood.
Along with.
There might be a percentage of a little sister in there. um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe from my mom's side, maybe a touch of European because her dad was from Spain. So
Mhm.
yeah, and
I
that's
know
just a
we.
guess.
I know. Which I was surprised, and I didn't realize it until Uncle Augustine had mentioned it. That that 'cause he said that Greta Pelayo had told him that she also had family from Portuguese, and that came up
Ah,
on our on my DNA, Portuguese.
mm-hmm.
So it was a small percentage, but I was just surprised to see that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bloodline goes different ways, all different ways. It's amazing.
Yes.
Um,
And it's It's amazing how they're able to like get stuff from way all our ancestors way back.
Hmm.
Let's see. Do you have which you, if you want to, do you have in your most embarrassing moment that you'd like to share? You don't have to.
Um, hmm. None that I can think of. I probably have, but
Hmm.
nothing I can think of right now. And no, I wouldn't be embarrassed to say it. No,
Okay.
nothing I can really think of right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm, what about something you received, maybe like a gift? What was your most favorite gift received?
My favorite gift. Um, I mean, I like to get gifts. It's fun, and I think my biggest gifts is when I see my kids happy.
Mm.
That's priceless. Yeah, when I see them happy.
Is there any characteristics or features that you can say or share that you share with your kids that you that's very present and noticeable?
Um, I think my oldest son has a lot of my characteristics. He's very firm with his son, but he gives them some, as you call it, some string to be
Mhm,
himself. But yet he doesn't let him, um, like get out of hand or anything.
mhm,
He's stern and keeps them on schedule. You know. Um, and my other son, he's very loving with his kids. Cares a
mhm,
lot about his kid. I think all my sons that have kids, they're very loving with their kids, and I'm like that too. Um, I try to teach them not to give up,
mhm,
defend themselves, stand up for themselves, speak up. Don't be afraid to say what's on your mind, but at the same time be respectful, to whoever it is you're talking to.
mhm,
Um, I've taught them to have manners, you know, thank you, you're welcome. If they go somewhere and somebody gives them food, always remember to say thank you. Um, yeah, I think that's one of my biggest things with them is always remember to be respectful and say thank you. Yeah.
Do you feel that one looks more like you than the other, or who do you feel has your features or looks more
That
like
that would be my twin Andrew.
you?
Everybody says that. He's like, oh my God, you guys are twins. If he was a girl, he'd be your twin. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think both Andrew and Johnny.
yeah. Johnny looks like all his brothers combined together. Yeah.
Mhm.
When you look at it in certain times and certain angles, he looks like all of them. Yeah.
I know you guys look exactly like when you guys dance and you close your eyes and
I don't know what is it
like
with me and
you
my
guys
closing my eyes. Maybe because I just feel relaxed.
he's the same way. I'm like, you guys look just alike. Do you have any family traditions?
My immediate family or the family in its entirety.
Either.
Um, our family tradition, I guess, is just we just like to all get together for certain occasions and enjoy company. There's nothing more precious than that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we get together maybe for Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Oh, whose house are we going to this year? Or, you know, who's going to cook? Or, yeah, I like that. You know, we're all together and, you know, whether it be a small group or a big group,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we always try to figure out where we're going to go, who's going to do what. Yeah. We always try to keep that family niche together for those type of occasions.
Mm-hmm. Mm, who would you say? It can be between you and your siblings or anybody else in the family. Who would you say is the best cook?
Of my sisters,
Yeah, your sister. You can say your siblings or anyone in the family food that you take and you're tasted and you're like, I think they're one of the best cook in the family.
um, sibling wise, I would say they all have their own style. So they all cook pretty good. They just have their own style and present
Mhm.
their food in their own way. So I can't say one less than the other. They just have their different styles. Um, for sister-in-laws, I would say my sister-in-law Mazetta cooks really well. Can't put down my ex-mother-in-law. She's still like my mother-in-law. I love her food. um, and my stepmom, different culture, but her food was delicious.
Oh, okay. What culture was that?
I missed her food when she passed away. I missed her food so much.
Mhm.
She was from El Salvador.
Oh, okay.
She was an excellent cook. Excellent cook. Yes.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
El Salvador, are they the ones that make the pupusas?
Yes. Uh huh.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me for a
What?
quick second. I just need to put my hair up. I'm feeling hot.
Okay.
uh, kind of muggy in my room right now. Hold
Yeah,
on.
that's why my face is red because in my office and I don't have a fan. I forgot to bring my fan in.
Uh,
And it's kind of hot in here.
okay. Sorry.
Um, what accomplishments are you most proud of?
Um, I'm proud of the strength that I've gained over the years, no matter what life has thrown at me.
Mhm.
Because I see women in life that just give up or just don't have any interest and feel like they can't do it. They can do it. They just have to put their minds to it. Nothing is impossible. You know, I always see younger girls that, they had a failure or they had one kid and they just give up, they give up their kid or whatever it may be. I've never been like that. It's like no
Mhm.
matter what, I still move forward and I don't give up. So my accomplishment is never giving up.
That's a good one.
Hmm.
Okay. Na- name something that you would want to be remembered for.
Um, my I mean, I guess I have my own style, but I think I'm a caring person,
Hmm.
and I would like to say I was one that will stand up for someone when they need it. You know, if someone needs help or someone to speak on their behalf. You know, because I don't like to see when my family someone's taking advantage of them, or if they need help with something or they have a situation, or like when we go on our trips, and you're like, Brenda, I need you to go talk to so and so. You know, like I think something like that. I'm not fearful, so I have never
Hmm.
had any fear of speaking up to get what I need. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we are coming to the close of our interview and sharing about Miss Brenda Ramirez-Nicholson. Um, is there anything that you would like to end with? Maybe something you'd like to share, a poem, your favorite scripture, or just something that you would like to leave or close with?
um,
Advice, anything.
Well, it's interesting you asked me that because when I was watching your first interview with Stephanie, and she brought up, how back in the day people didn't really show or didn't know how, or maybe that was just their style of how to
Mm-hmm.
express love for each other. And that's one
Right.
of my biggest things because I'm a very loving person
Mm-hmm.
and not to judge anyone within the family. So I don't want anyone to get offended. That's not my intention.
Mm-hmm.
But, we get older and I think I want everyone to continue to say they love each other, give each other a hug when you see them because you don't know if that's going to be your last time you're going to see them.
Right.
So and I noticed that a lot more. The family's doing that more. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't used to see it before, but then I saw like some of the younger generation doing it, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
They come on Brenda and they hug you and they give you a kiss. Nice to see you.
Right.
And then now I see some of the older generation is starting to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, "I love you." You have to do that, no matter what. If you had a bad day, no matter, hey sis, haven't seen you in a while, or I love you, or give them a hug, or show them some sort of endearment so they know, because
Mm-hmm.
again, you don't know if that'll be the last time you'll see them,
Right.
because life is weird. Just remember to say, I love you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Well, this was a wonderful interview. I am glad and I appreciate that you've taken the time to share all about you with everyone.
Finally,
Yes, yes.
after how many tries?
We finally made it.
Uh,
Um, do you want to share if maybe like someone watches this and maybe an old friend and they're like, oh, I know Brenda, where you can be found? You have a social media um hanger or something like that where people can reach out
well,
to if they need to reach you?
I'm only on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I only go on Facebook for reasons of my employment. We're restricted on certain things they prefer us to stay away from. So I only do Facebook just for fun and family. So if anyone does hear me, they can reach me out on Facebook as Brenda Nicholson.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you again. And like I said, I appreciate you being here and I appreciate everything that you shared with us, how you opened up and shared with us. And you know, I guess until I see you again, you know, and until our next vacation.
Oh gosh,
I'm looking forward to that.
I can't wait.
Because I like your background. I'm enjoying it. I'm like, I want to be
I know. If only I could be there right now, eh?
there.
Having a
Yeah.
nice pina colada or something that good.
Yeah, it's Friday. So thank you for spending your Friday evening with me. Uh,
Yeah, and I hope my job is not listening to me because I snuck off at 5 o'clock. But I had my laptop next to me just in case. But everybody knows I'm like the multitasker traveling person. I
yeah,
can, as long as I have the internet, I'm good.
yeah, you get done what needs to be done.
Yes.
Okay, well, you have a
Yeah.
wonderful night
You too.
and
And,
thank you again.
yeah. Love you.
Love you too.
All righty.
Okay, see you
Bye.
soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.